All right, I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off, and it's that Alex Hormozy's book, $100 million Offers, isn't going to help you sell more of your program. Any Joe Schmo with this book can slap together an offer and say that they're helping people lose 30 pounds of weight or make $20,000 a month. But at the end of the day, nobody's sold on this person just because they gave you a guarantee or they understood the value equation or they're adding more value to their offer and putting scarcity and urgency in it. This just simply does not sell. And to answer the question, like, Brett, why does it not sell? Well, chances are you have competitors and you have close to the same offer, probably even have the same audience, and you're giving away the same bonuses, adding the same value in your offer. But the guy on the left is doing 100K a month, and you can even have the same audience size too. We see this all the time. The guy on the left is doing 100K a month, and then the guy on the right is stuck at 20K a month. And it ultimately comes down to is that the guy on the left built a cult and the guy on the right did not. And this is what the biggest creators and educational sellers in our entire space understand really, really well. People like Dan Koe, Ali Abdaal, Hormozy, Iman Ghazi, they have people copying the exact same offer as them. But why are they able to do millions and millions of dollars while other people who have the exact same offer saying they can do the exact same thing are struggling to get out? Like, think about all the people that are selling the exact same thing as Iman Ghazi. But everyone invests into Iman Ghazi because he's a leader and he's built belief into him and that his offer works. Same thing for Alex Hormozy. I'm sure there's people trying to do exactly what Alex Hormozy is doing, scaling this acquisition model, right? But he's a leader in this space and people believe in him. And ultimately, they understand that the offer is just one part to the puzzle. It's the very end of what somebody sees in the sales process. But they need to get people to believe in them and the offer and see them as a leader first in order for them to convert. This is the key difference. So they're not focused on the offer themselves. They're focused on building a cult and then selling their offer. And I know what you're thinking, Brett. Like, I don't have millions of followers like them. How am I going to build a cult? Well, the thing is, you only need to build a micro cult because we have people in our incubator literally who only have 1,600 followers like Sam here, and they're doing $30,000 a month. Even myself, I wanted to test this idea of a micro cult out first, and I started a new account, 385 followers, and I ended up making 11,000 in 30 days. Same thing with our guy Jamil. He has 1,700 followers and made 18K in the past 3 weeks. It's because they knew the key levers that begin to develop out a cult. But first off, why offers don't sell, why just slapping this together, why sounding like everybody else isn't going to work for you. Just like myself, I kind of fell into the same traps. I studied the $100 million offers playbook like a hawk. Like, I'm telling you, I dissected this book like nobody has ever dissected a book. I then also began to steal from my competitors. I went to them, I saw their offers, what they were giving out to other people, and thought, hey, I should add this into my offer because it's what they're doing. It's working for other people. Let me do the same. And I finally crafted my 100K a month offer document. I thought this was the thing that's going to take me to 100K a month. And I ended up crafting content around pieces of my offer here in order to get more book calls. Ended up hopping on sales calls with people and still got the same exact results. So I copied people, I did the playbook, made the most irresistible offer, putting guarantees in there, and I was still left with the same result of just getting some people coming through the door. And the offer really didn't seem like a differentiating factor. And that's because right now, there's really 2 or 3 things that's happening. In 2016 to 2020, you can make any claim and make millions. You can copy other people's offers because the market wasn't as sophisticated. And really what that means is the market didn't have as much skepticism of the prospects because there wasn't as many people running this playbook that Hormozi's giving you, coming up with great offers so you can just copy somebody else and there's enough market capacity in order to capture the entire market. So we're in level 4 and level 5. The skepticism is insanely high and people are running the exact same playbook, which is ultimately numbing out the audience. And just like me, my audience was numbed out. There wasn't anything differentiating me. So the problems that you're most likely facing is you look like everybody else. Nobody believes in you and nobody believes in your method, aka your offer. And when I was experiencing this myself, I began to look at my competitors and like, why are people investing into them? Like, I have the exact same thing, right? I know it works because they're doing it, but why are people investing into them? And I study them and I realized that they're building out cults. They have this fan base of people who truly believe in them and see them as a leader. And that's essentially what a cult is. So I started studying real cults and I started studying cult brands. And I realized the offer doesn't sell. It's the messaging around your offer, right? Nobody is going to be sold off of your 12-week program or how you say that you can get somebody to 30K a month or lose 30 pounds of weight in 90 days. You need to craft the messaging around it. And in order to do that, the levers that you need to pull is understanding identity, building out your brand DNA, and then knowing where to implement it. And these are the 3 things that I'm going to be covering in this video today. So step 1, understanding the identity for building out your micro cult. This is the first stepping stone. And really, this is ultimately taken from real world tactics. Like I said, I studied real world cults and exactly what they're doing in order to build out a cult. And they understand the identity of the person that they're targeting to the T. Almost all cults are targeting people who have this identity of loneliness. They have a bunch of beliefs about themselves that make them insecure, and they have weak family ties. And what the cults do extremely well is they're not selling people on the cult itself. They're not saying, hey, we do the X, Y, and Z. We do 3 weekly meetings and you have to wear a robe and you're going to like, that's not what they're selling people on. They're selling them on the opposite identity that they really want, which is belonging, specialness, purpose, salvation. And they begin to shift their beliefs that the cult is the thing that's going to allow them to get these things. So they sell them on the beliefs that they will be receiving all of this first. And it's really coming down to understanding the old identity versus the new identity that they want. What does make up identity? Well, your identity is a unique sense of self, a combination of characteristics, beliefs, experiences, and social affiliations. The one thing that we can really change about somebody's identity is their beliefs. Because your identity is essentially made up of a bunch of beliefs. So if you believe you're a healthy and fit person, you're going to do things that are going to make you healthy and fit. Because ultimately, beliefs dictate actions. To give you an example of this, well, number 1, the cults here, what they're doing is saying, hey, our cult is going to provide all of this. Okay? And after they say that, the people then start to take action to receive it. They start showing up to the 3 weekly meetings. They start wearing their robes because they want belongingness, specialness, purpose, salvation. So they're not selling them on the offer itself. They're selling them and shifting their beliefs because beliefs dictate actions. Another way to put this is, let's say it's, I check my weather app and it says it's 100% going to rain tomorrow. The first thing that I'm going to do when I wake up tomorrow is I'm going to put on my rain jacket because I'm in full belief based off of what the weather app told me that it's going to rain. And I'm going to do that without checking outside because I fully believe it's going to rain. So beliefs dictate actions. Another crazy way to put this is trans people. It's those people, they fully believe they're the opposite gender. So what do they begin to do? They begin to act like them. They begin to do hormone replacement therapy and surgery and all this other crazy stuff, right? Like they believe they're the opposite gender, so they start taking actions to fulfill on that belief. But why is belief so important to developing out the cult? Well, ultimately, if your prospect doesn't believe in you and your offer, they will never buy. One of the things that these guys do really well is they begin to sell the belief on why their method is good. Like Iman Ghazi, in the beginning of his info career, when he was selling people into agency stuff, a lot of his content was centered around why you should even be doing an agency. Not the things that you need to do itself to make the agency successful, but why agencies is the pathway for you achieving all the results you want. And so he shifted people's beliefs into that. And we're doing the same thing with our offers because honestly, no guarantee, no bonus, no urgency, no value, any of that other stuff you put in the offer isn't going to sell the belief. To really concretely put this in your head and why this is so important and it's going to differentiate you is, let's say I'm a fitness coach and I'm trying to sell people on the fact of like, obviously they need to lose weight, so lose 30 lbs. Let's say they're going to do the keto diet and that they're going to do kettlebell exercises. The person to the right of me can be saying the exact same thing. But if I'm not shifting the belief in that, hey, kettlebells and keto diet is the way that you're going to achieve the identity that you want. This is why you should even be doing keto diet and kettlebells, and this is why it's better than everything else. If they fully begin to believe that, hey, yeah, keto diet is the way for me to easily get in shape, and doing kettlebell workouts is so much better than doing heavy lifting, bench press, and all that stuff, they're going to begin to take action on it. And what is that action that they're going to take when you shifted their belief? It's getting help from you. So belief shifting to a new identity is extremely important. The way you begin to do this is really by understanding the old identities and the beliefs that make up that old identity and the new identity. What are the beliefs that you need to have in order to achieve that new identity? And you're telling the person these beliefs. Essentially, it's like discovering their limiting beliefs and then telling them what the beliefs of the new identity has of that person, how they think, and you then shift the beliefs in what they need to do. And when you shift that belief, once again, they're taking action. So the first step in building out that micro cult is building the belief in your offer. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you can have the same offer, but one just did so much better of a job selling the reason why they should even be doing it. Like let's say YouTube ads. I'm selling an offer on that. And so is this guy, YouTube ads. I just did so much better of a job of why people should even be doing YouTube ads in the first place. Once you instill that belief, they're gonna, like, the natural next step is to pay for the program. So belief shifting is so important. Understand the identity of your offer, what that shift needs to happen in the offer itself is the first stepping stone to not seeming like everybody else. And this isn't coming from how-to content, giving away lead magnets and all that stuff. It's identity that's woven into your messaging. And if you want to understand this a little bit more, check out the link in the description. Completely free, my school community. I go over this like way more in depth on how to actually build this out. Once again, completely for free. Check it out. But the next step, now that we know that we need to build out the belief in the offer itself, we need to also build out your brand DNA. Building out the brand DNA, we need to understand like cults actually have their own DNA itself, and it's made up of a couple different things. One really big thing is the leader. The leader is always a charismatic person. They have conviction in what they're doing, and they have authority. Leaders are essential for building out your brand and getting people sold into your program, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not a leader, people aren't going to invest into you. So leadership is important. DNA of the brand itself, like a cult, the reason why people are joining cults is because it's different from what they've tried before. It's different from these beliefs that they feel like they're going to get. If they feel like they're going to get belongingness, salvation, uniqueness, whatever, just joining a regular religion isn't enough for them. The DNA of a cult is different. They have doctrine, they have prophecy, they have enemies, they have different rituals and practices, they have sacred teachings. And no offer tactic is ultimately going to work because our market is growing to 2 trillion by 2035. This is a good thing. We need our market to be growing for you to be growing in your business, right? If we're selling newspapers, if you're getting into that business, you're just going to go on the decline because the market's going on the decline. So we need a trending market upwards. But the problem with that is we have everybody entering the market trying to capitalize on it, meaning it's getting harder and harder to compete. You have everybody screaming the exact same thing, lose 30 pounds. But how are you different and better? And you just screaming that isn't going to make you a true leader or authority, just like a cult has. So by definition, if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're not a leader. To be a leader, you need to stick out, right? The reason there's only a certain amount of leaders in the world, there's more common people than leaders. It's because leaders are different. They're doing something different. And you need to be developing that leadership and that DNA, which is ultimately, once again, that messaging around your offer that causes you to be different. Because at the end of the day, you can have the exact same offer as somebody, but if the things that you talk about are different, if you sell people on you, giving them a reason to invest into you, then more people are going to invest in the person that is different, saying the different things, but might have the same exact offer. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, the brand DNA of a cult is they have doctrine, but that's your values and beliefs. All this stuff is going to differentiate yourself. They have the cult has prophecy. You have your missions. The cult has enemies. You develop your enemies. The cult has specific rituals and practices that make them different. You develop out your tools. That's going to make you different. They have sacred teachings. You have your mechanisms. This is ultimately how you develop authority. Authority is leadership, and leadership is being different. And to dive into this a little bit deeper, values and beliefs. So I have a ton of values and beliefs. One of them right now is I fully believe and fully value that you need to build your business around your life and not your life around your business. This is something that comes from me, that other people can resonate and nobody else is saying. It's a core value of mine, and it makes people more connected to me. So share your values and share your beliefs. The next is your tools. Your tools are a unique way of doing something that nobody else has. So, for example, mine is the buyer's menu, mechanism engineering, and identity shifting. These are all tools I give people inside my incubator that will help people achieve the results that they want that nobody else has. So you want to develop out your own tools. You want to uniquely name them. And this is beginning to differentiate yourself in the market and make you an authority because you have different things. Your enemies are really important. Create enemies that cause people to pick a side. We see this in politics where, one side calls out the other side and it makes people pick the side, and then they become more and more indoctrinated, you can say, into whatever side that they choose because they're more forced to choose a side because they're calling out enemies on both ends, right? So when it comes to creating enemies, you're not necessarily calling people out in your space. I don't recommend doing that. But you're creating enemies with the common practices in your space that you don't agree with. And this has to come from you. Because remember, if you're saying the exact same thing as somebody else, you're not a true authority. So right now, the things that I really disagree with is vibe scaling. Vibe scaling is so dumb. If you're trying to scale a business to 30K to 100K a month, this whole idea of vibe scaling isn't going to get you there. Think about that. You're operating your business based off of vibes. There's going to be things that you're going to have to do in your business that you're not going to like. There's bottlenecks that you're going to have to fix. Sure, get to the area where you're working 4 hours a day and you enjoy your business. But the thing is, if you're really trying to scale out, you can't be doing all, just think about that for a second. You're going to scale off of vibes. Doesn't make any sense. Funnel hacking keeps you broke. That's another enemy. I hate this idea of funnel hacking because ultimately funnel hacking, sure, it might get you to put out initial okay message, But once again, the things that we're talking about here is differentiating yourself. If you're always funnel hacking people, you're always saying the exact same thing as them. And there's nothing truly different about what you're doing. You're never going to be able to scale off of stealing off of other people. The other one I have is no magical funnel. Everybody's preaching this funnel is going to get you to 30K. This funnel is going to get you to 100K. My workshop funnel is going to do this. Every funnel works. There's nothing magical out there. The thing that makes every funnel work is the messaging, what we're talking about today. Okay? So develop your own enemies. Differentiates yourself in the market, causes people to pick one side, starts to develop that cult even more. And we can even see it in like real world cults. They begin to develop enemies like the government and other ideologies that people think, and it just makes people more indoctrinated into that cult. Missions are really important. Your mission is essential for you to be a leader, right? If you're going to bring people somewhere, there needs to be an end goal in sight. Otherwise, nobody's going to follow you. You're leading people, leader. You're leading them somewhere. So you need a mission. And when you begin to craft your mission, people want to become a part of it. Like right now, my mission is to get 100 people to 100K a month. People are going to want to be a part of it. And I can update people on it. I can tell people about it. And it automatically puts me in the position of a leader. So develop out your mission that is specific to you and the things that you want. Your mechanisms. So this is your unique way of achieving the desired outcome. So you have the person here on the left, the person here on the right. Everything that they want is on the right. What is your specific way that's different from everybody else that gets them to the end goal? Because at the end of the day, people don't invest into you because you have the same thing. People invest into you because you're different. They want to try something different. And for me, that's brand identity, identity shifting, and CEO identity. I truly believe if you achieve all three of these things, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to go to 30K to 100K a month beyond. And the difference between the pathway, like these are pathways I bring people along. The difference between the pathway and the tools are just elements I give people along that pathway to achieve the result. Things that help them in going down this pathway of building out your brand identity, the pathway of building out your identity shifting messaging, and the pathway of building out your CEO identity, right? They're tools that help them do that. So your mechanisms become super important, and ultimately sharing this stuff, crafting your brand DNA, the messaging around your offer is going to develop out that cult. Okay, so finally you built out the belief in your offer. You built out the belief in you, the leader, and your brand. Where do you begin to actually apply this stuff that I'm talking about? It's actually pretty simple, but without understanding this, you can be potentially implementing it in the wrong areas. And it's really the difference of understanding cold traffic versus warm traffic and hot traffic. Cold traffic is getting people into your ecosystem, right? They've never seen you before. And typically what you're talking about is the frustrations the person has today and the wants that they want. And you're implementing them into your ecosystem through ads, organic content, follower ads, outbound, shoving them into your ecosystem. I'm going to skip over to hot traffic because a lot of people think, your hot traffic is like people who are pretty much ready to convert. Yes, at the end of the day, you are giving them your offer. You're putting them on a sales call. You're showing them your VSL. That is selling them on the physical things that you do in order to achieve the results. By that time, they should already believe in you and the brand. So what we're really focusing on is the warm traffic, people who are already in our ecosystem. So we're using things like email, SMS, lead magnets, organic content, workshops, retargeting ads, YouTube videos, that's another one in here. And you're beginning to talk about your beliefs, your tools, your missions, your the identity stuff, the values, the mechanisms, the story, the enemies. And if you nurture this person long enough, think about like 30 to 60 days, you give them all of this, all these differentiating factors between you and everybody else. By day 30 or 60, when they finally hop on a call, you do a hand raiser for them to get on a call, you set the appointment, they already believe in your offer. They already believe in you. They already see you as a leader. They already know why you're different. They like your tools. They know your enemies. They agree with your enemies. They agree with the fact that you don't like your enemies, right? And then the sale becomes so much easier. So a lot of your nurturing content is where you want to begin to instill this. And think of these as ingredients. You make content, you add your values into bits and pieces of your content. You add your mechanisms, you add your story, you add your enemies in bits and pieces of your content. And really it's around this type of stuff. So, and that is where you're beginning to implement it in the warm traffic, which is AKA your nurturing traffic. That's it. So now you understand the identity, the brand DNA, and where to apply it. If you want more information on this completely for free, check out my school below. It's free. Once again, I think it's going to be worth you giving me your email to get all this free stuff on how to do exactly what we're talking about here and much, much more. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.